What's going on, everyone? So, this week, not very easy. It's not the worst, but it's not easy. It's fortified bolstering, which can go wrong very, very fast. Let's turn this down a little bit. So, a 22 Theater of Pain. In theory, Theater of Pain might be one of the easiest for this because there's so little mobs, but it still trucks. It's still hard. I took Purgatory just in case because I wasn't, 100% how this would go. So I took Purgatory as a little safety net.
Careful first quake.
Yeah, I'll be careful first quake. Yep.
See, I told you someone. That was you, actually.
That was me. I thought you were pulling it, so I just went to force it.
I used to try and get it.
Yeah, this is a hard one, and the Bloodhorn is. We pull the Bloodhorn in. He's gonna bolster everything. Now bolstering has been nerfed to where it has a timer now. I'll turn it down a little more. Bolstering has a timer now, so they're only gonna be bolstered for so long. All right, so big thing: kick Searing Death. If you're it doesn't matter who you are. Kick that Searing Death. That Searing Death needs to be kicked. It does quite a bit of damage. Ooh, jeez, man. Yeah, this key went by really fast for me because I almost die so often. Like, it just felt like it went by so quick. My head was just engaged. So the bolstering is already over. And I mean, look at the damage, like 27k. Like, if the damage wasn't as good as they were, 100% I die. This is one of the hardest bosses. I say this in all my keys, right? Like, Searing Death. This boss is very, very hard, purely because of the Decapitator. Oh. Everything we can to stay alive here. Everything we can. So once the Decapitator goes, you're fine. It gets much easier for you once he's gone.
I never popped past it,
Yeah. But yeah, I like the crew. Sorry, I had interrupts on from the last dungeon before this.
if it wasn't.
So yeah, I swapped that out so you can see the healing, the overall healing.
I can do so much more healing over time on my previous.
So I'm sure I bursted up there quite a.
On my 21 yesterday.
I'm sure I bursted up there pretty high. Yeah, bolstering is pretty hard. It proves to be very difficult on a fortified week.
I made you 0 damage, be squishy as all hell, but Holy Priest can pump out heal.
Good old Archie. Yeah, Archie and I did this key, and we just got random DPS, but we were very scrutinizing about who we got. I'm sorry to say this. If you're Ragnaros or Azalon, I've just been burned too many times. Like, there's great players on those servers, but even if they're good, a lot of the times they end up leaving a key the first thing that goes wrong. So I don't know. The chances of having a good player and stays instead of just like randomly just DCing and just never coming back is a pretty slim chance, as opposed to just finding someone who's North American. I dislike that it's the way things are, but that's how it is right now. I've been burned too many times putting up my own key like this, and then, yeah, Varuth almost claps me. It's a 22 is still a rough key, even if it's fortified.
What's our order here, Captain?
So this is like my go-to route now. This is just what I do. And of course, I love to play Necrolord on this dungeon. One, you're Necrolord, so you can get the banners if nobody else is Necrolord. And two, Super Strain on a dungeon with so many bosses. It's just nice. It's just extra damage. Now, you guys know I mostly only take Super Strain if I'm Necrolord because of the slappy hands giving me shield stacks. Ooh, that almost gets me. I backed up a little too much and I didn't keep aggro. Like I didn't keep threat. I think that's why Archie got grabbed. I'm not sure. I think he healed and grabbed the threat from me. I really don't know.
Back. I was still on the fucking stairs.
Maybe just had enough threat on it. Yeah, he took healer threat. I'm not sure.
So yeah, it's a very doable key, but that doesn't like, don't let that undercut how rough it is. So the last video I put out was reviewing somebody's 15 key and talking about what could be changed, what could have been better. And the overwhelming theme was death strikes and death and decay and heart strikes. Now, why that's so important is this right here. Look how quick my health goes down. Look how often that's happening. It's very important to gain as much runic power as possible to be able to heal. So it's foundation work. It's getting ready for when it's getting ready for when you fight a pack, and if you don't death strike within 3 globals, you're probably gonna die. So you need your runic power to be as efficient as possible, which means putting down death and decay, heart striking, and if you fall low on runes, rune tapping, and keep heart striking. So you should be able to see a good amount of that right here. I know I have no bone shield stacks, so I popped dancing rune weapon and grabbed it. Bone shield usually gives you 3 per stack. If you have dancing rune weapon up, it copies it, so you get 6. So here, if you see, I put down death and decay. I don't even know if I heart struck like crazy. I think everything was dying so quick that I didn't need to as much, but it's definitely going to happen here. So we get all this. We don't need that last soul. You can leave that last soul. If you're running the route that you see in this video, you don't need that last one. So I'm going to try and just get a little bit of a shield here. Grab them all. So once my death and decay goes down, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be, like, I just hard cast it. And then, yep, I just death strike when I can. I'm looking at my bone shield stacks, and I'm just heart striking when it's possible.
Alright, can we double this?
I have no cooldowns. Let me just do it.
Yeah, in retrospect, we shouldn't have doubled this. We didn't have any DPS cooldowns
I got second kick.
or healer cooldowns. Like, try and get Omni CD if you don't have it, and just, I have extra crap here I have to take off, but you really want to know when the major cooldowns of your DPS are and your major cooldowns of your healer are, because if you're thinking about doing this pull, you need to know, is this a good idea? You can't just run into it like I did it as an idiot. You can't just run into it and be like, yep, it's a good idea, I always do this. No, you need to know, do your DPS have cooldowns? Because that's going to drastically affect how successful you are in this. The reason, Shadowlands is very cooldown reliant. Shadowlands is just one of those expansions where if you're not in a cooldown window, your DPS are doing as much DPS as the tank or less. Like, you know, if that's just how it is in this game right now. So it's very critical that you have a way to look at everybody's cooldowns, major like DPS cooldowns, so you can know, oh, I can pull really big here. Everybody has everything. Or no. So we outlived everybody here. I think we battle resed Archie. But yeah. Yeah. So, bad idea. The lesson learned there is check for cooldowns before you do it. Alright. If you don't have a cooldown, a kick tracker, you should. If you don't have a kick tracker and you're a tank and you're wanting to progress in keys that are higher, I don't even know if I'd be able to play this game without a kick tracker, to be honest. Like, it's very important, especially with mechanical heavy, like, things need to be kicked in this. So if you know somebody kicked, okay, they won't have kick with this next round of stuff, so I can kick this one, like, and they're going to be doing that too. It helps to make sure people don't overlap. So we're going to refresh bone shield stacks because we refreshed it before we went down to make sure we were okay. We're going to drop death and decay. We're going to hard strike when we can. If we're high on runic power, we're going to death strike. So if we cap, we death strike. Look at that damage, man. People just peeking.
I can't even spell this many dots. That part's literally impossible with no mass to spell. I like right personally.
Yeah, so I always go double right. If you're doing the skip, I always go double right. I don't like to go near those guys on the left. Ooh, he came flying in. Alright. I'm going to just channel right here, get some shield, and now I can worry about, see, look, death and decay and heart strike. Now, I don't always just commit full heart strike. I try and pepper it in. I try and pepper in some global, so it's like, it's situational. I try and make sure I have enough, but I don't want to waste out all my runes. So it's like, okay, throwing a blood boil. Oh, my stacks are getting low. Throwing that. But you see how spiky, like, this is DK when you start to get into a heavier key, a bigger keys. Your reactions have to go up. You have to be good at managing this stuff and then very quick to react to a death strike. Because you think you're fine and then boom, you're like almost dying. So you have to kind of expect to be yo-yoing around with your life. So we pick up those guys on the left, kill this, and then that's it. You'll have perfectly fine cap.
I don't believe you. It's only because I've been under count now twice when I've ran this dungeon twice this week.
Alright, we refreshed bone shield stacks before we went, so first thing we want to do, refresh. And now we can worry about staying alive. As soon as my death and decay is up, I would have popped it regardless if I got a cooldown or not. There's 3 mobs here. They're dangerous. I want to make sure that I have enough runic power to react to spike damage, pretty much. All while trying to make sure I have hemostasis going. Oh, yeah, that thing did not get kicked.
Have the spell.
And a 22 necrotic bolt volley doesn't get kicked, everybody dies. That's where the stakes are at, especially when he gets bolstered. Bolstered will amp up the damage that these casters do.
Do you have a few reds or no? I mean, yeah, but is it worth it if we don't all walk back? It's like 30 seconds if we have to all walk back. Am I releasing or no? Okay. That's what.
Oh man, it still hits hard. Even when the bolster wears off, it still hits hard.
Well, they all started walking anyway, so it's fine.
Alright, so we go through. Like, we're already 9 deaths in. Like, it's not looking good, but people did really good damage. So I'm going to spoil the key a little bit for you here. I never popped Purgatory. It was there as a safety net, but I could have ran Red Thirst and gotten more benefit. Because essentially, if you don't even pop Purgatory, it's a dead talent. You just spent a talent for nothing. I mean, you don't know that going in, right? But it doesn't feel good at the end of the key. You're like, oh man, I didn't even pop. So it's like I didn't even need it. I could have taken Red Thirst and gotten more use out of it. So as a tank, you want this debuff, this phantasmal parasite, to be on you. You can heal yourself. You can you can AMS it. There's all kinds of things you can do. So it's preferable for it to be on you instead of somebody else, because the healer doesn't even have to worry about you. Usually. I get it again. That's great. Every time we can take it, the better.
We're all on you. This is beautiful.
Yeah, that's all mine.
Someone got rid of. I don't know how someone got the zone actually. If he did.
I think I'm gonna sneeze. Give me a second here. I'll mute the microphone if I sneeze. Ooh. It was flirting. It was tickling, you know? Yeah, look what happens when the healer gets the debuff. It ticks hard. He has the link right there. And so one helpful thing, as you get better at DK, and once a lot of this core rotation stuff gets more second nature, where you're not really I'm not thinking about this stuff when I'm doing it. It's just happening. I'm more focused on the fight, but my brain knows when to do things. Once you get better at it, you want to also sacrifice your pet when he has maybe 5 seconds left, because the explosion damages a lot, and it heals you for 20% of your life. So you can use him as a minor cooldown to heal you. Mine has a little sound effect that happens. It makes a little electric sound when he is in 5 seconds before he expires. So I know, okay, I have about 5 seconds to make sure I have runic power to spend to sacrifice him. So you sacrifice him, he'll do AoE damage, and you'll get healed 20% of your life. So it's very powerful. Like I said, I set up a little weak aura that just watches for it. So if he's up and he has 5 seconds left before he is gone, it just makes a noise for me, and then I just manually detonate him when it's time. I recently switched to Tauren. If anybody's been watching my channel a while know that I've always been Orc. I switched to Tauren. I don't know, I want to try it out. Tauren gets more HP, and as an expansion goes on, traditionally blood decays get stronger. We scale so well with stats, with HP, with strength. We scale great. So I like that you get percentage amount of health. So it's gonna go up in 9.2 how much I get from just being a Tauren. Right now in practice it's 3.5k extra HP, but I mean 3.5k is great. And the other thing I really liked is a Tauren ratio for the stomp, the ground stomp. You can stun up to 5 enemies for 2 seconds. That can interrupt a lot of casts if used well. I didn't have asphyxiate there, unfortunately, or I messed it up. Damage is still good. The main thing about that whole wing is kicking those withering. Let's do withering plagues. Decaying filth is okay. That can go off. The withering definitely can't. Alright. When those things die and they leave that green puddle, don't stand in it. But yeah, as you're getting better at the game, I wouldn't say at the game, that's incorrect. As you get more comfortable with blood decay and you start pushing higher keys, if you get to that point, your damage is going to start spiking a lot, and you have to be ready for it. And you have to be very good at making sure bone shields are there. And if they're not there, that's the first thing you have to think about when you get into a pull. So I know mine ended. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm going to start the pull with Dancing Rune Weapon. And then I'm going to Blood Boil and probably do my trinket. Yep. start to pull with Dancing Rune Weapon, even though I'm not using the legendary for it, it still is going to mean if I start it with Dancing Rune Weapon and then I Marrow Rend, I'm already getting 6 stacks with just 2 runes. So committing 4 runes here means you're at 10 stacks. But yeah, look how quick they bursted that down, dude. That's crazy.
I'm gonna pull everything
Hurts a
together.
lot on his node.
I'm pulling.
Alright, so I didn't pull this guy in with the other pack, like chain him in as it was getting close, was because of bolstering. Normally I would try and bring him in if the patrol allows it, but because of bolstering, I did not want to do that. A big HP mob like this, you don't want to bolster if you can help it. So even with mistakes, we still do fine in the dungeon. That's purely because of how good the damage was. Mechanics did not go insanely well. So this is the pull I like to do. I saved a bomb limb for this. This is what I saved it for. So I can get in there, I can start heart striking. See, heart striking, like heart strikes are going for like 9k each. If they're all in the D&D and I do it, 6k, 9k. But things are dying. You know, you want to heart strike quite a bit, but you want to judge it based on how many runes you have.
We might not even have
Typically,
boss.
the rule is try and save 2
We
runes.
can do the same thing I was just talking about that idea with the other group.
It's usually try and keep 2 runes in the tank if you can help it, because that means you can refresh your bone chill stacks at the end, or if you drop below and you're in trouble. There's exceptions to that. There's exceptions always, but usually you would stop heart striking if you don't think you're going to get really hurt here, or if you're dipping below on your runes, or if you don't have blood tap ready. Yeah, I mess up here. I'm unsure what I was focused on there, but there's something. It's nice having a hunter with you because he can help you collect aggro on those leftovers. So usually when I come down, or when they come down, I try and taunt one, grip the other. Those are both a taunt. The grip is more of a soft taunt, but it still helps. So I'll have Abomination Limb for the next pack. Maybe, okay. I was like, do I use it here? And so I know if Abomination's Limb is going, I'm fine on Bone Chill stacks. I don't have to worry about a Marren for a while. So I think I even use more runes than I would normally. But typically, the rule is leave 2 runes up if you can help it. And that will come second nature as you do it a lot. And the way that your brain is going to know to do it was because you're going to have a lot of situations where you have no runes, no runic power, and you're taking big damage. You're like, man, if you drop below 5 stacks of Bone Shield, Ossuary goes away. What that means is Death Strike costs more. Death Strike costs less when you're at 5 Bone Shield stacks or higher. So you want to always be at 5 stacks or higher. Everybody has a personal preference of where they like their stacks to kind of sit at. But anytime you're going to drop below 5 and you have to Death Strike, it's going to cost you more runic power than other times. So the reasoning behind keeping 2 runes in the tank is for an emergency bone stacks to refresh them, or
Yeah,
to make sure you don't drop below 5.
yeah, I haven't had any.
Want me to go start the interactions with Colin?
Good.
Yep. Well, are you gonna come taunt him, or want me to grab him? Or you're grabbing him?
So this is risky. This is not easy. On a fortified week and a bolster week, double pulling this is pretty hard. But I haven't used my cheat death yet. And I don't know, I just felt pretty rotationally strong today. Like I felt pretty on my game. I don't know if it's because I had sugar today or what. Like, I don't know. I just my nuts felt big. I don't know why. The bloodthirsty is hard because she throws stuff at people, so your whole team's taking a bunch of random damage. It's unfortunate that the monk didn't grab the banner there.
No! Oh, it was on where I was already clicking just for leaving. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh no! I got. Man, I got double quaked on. I just spent so much of my time at like 4% HP. Oh my. You guys, this is where the fun of being a DK is. That feeling is so great. Like, play Blood DK. Play Blood DK. There's so many times you're gonna feel like a god for your self-sustain. Like you shouldn't really care what healer you get. But aside from that, this guy didn't grab the banner at all. So, okay, I'll get it. Aside from that, it's just this tank is so interactive. It's so fun. There's so many times you're about to die. The dungeon goes so fast when you're so focused and making sure you're not dying. So Dancing Rune Weapon, get my stacks, Blood Boil, and then get some Heart Strikes in. Just Heart Strike what we can. Try and keep 2 runes out if we can help it. We do have a Blood Boil, so... Man, look at the damage. People were... This key timed because of this damage, so... I knew my Bone Shield stacks were pretty low, so all I did was just pop Abomination Limb. Because it gives me a lot of stacks, so I didn't have to waste any runes on my end. But look at this damage I'm taking. It's pretty high. Everybody used their cooldowns on that pack, which they really didn't need to. It should have been used here. Or at least somebody should have saved something. But that's just the way of pugs. They don't know what I'm going to do. He's probably saying sorry because he used his cooldowns too with everybody else. But this is a hard fight. I'm taking a lot of big spike damage. See? So Archie's dead. At least the captain's dead, so I will be taking significantly less damage. Still getting hit hard though. Unbalancing strike does a lot. So you see I just sacrificed my ghoul. It gave me HP and it did damage. Yeah, no one had cooldowns here. So look at the damage now as opposed to that other pack. That was a big time sink. Someone should have saved. So if you noticed here, with just one mob, I am fishing for procs for my death and decay. But anytime you get into a situation of 3 mobs or more, I pretty much keep it on cooldown so I can hard strike. It's very often I do. This guy's fortified boss, so I really don't even pay attention to him. I just keep cooldowns for when they're... Like, if brutal combo is about to happen, I make sure I have some kind of cooldown going, but that's it. I did grippy hands right here for the banner. Like, even channeling here, I just sit in it. I didn't even care. Yep. So yeah, pretty much if I get a proc, I'll use Death and Decay, but I won't just drop Death and Decay on this boss for any reason aside from that. Because one big thing, Heart Strike naturally hits 2 targets. So there's no real point to Death and Decay unless there's 2 targets. Unless you get a proc. Like then it's like worth it. But other than that, it's not. But once you get into like an AoE situation of like 5 mobs, 3-4 mobs, it's situational, but it's almost always worth it because then you can Heart Strike a good amount and just we take Heartbreaker as a talent. Read Heartbreaker in the first row. If you're playing on your Blood Decay, read Heartbreaker. That is why we Death and Decay and Heart Strike so much. If we weren't taking Heartbreaker, which there's 0 point to not take it in a Mythic Plus situation, but the reason why it's picked in Mythic Plus all the time is because of Death and Decay Heart Strike. If you can Heart Strike 5 targets at a time, your runic power is going to go up very fast. 2 Heart Strikes, 3 Heart Strikes, and you're like full runic power. And you have to start treating your runic power as a health bar. It is your health bar. So how efficiently you spend your runic power means it's more health bar, if that makes sense. So you are spending runic power to bring your health up. So if you have a full runic power bar, you have a lot of extra health ready to go. The problem is if you overcap, then you're missing out.
Not looking terrible.
So it's like, gotta make sure you're...
I shouldn't have taken that fucking battle res. I'm so pissed at myself.
You gotta make sure that you're... yeah, there's a lot of things to think about. You don't want to overcap on bone shield stacks if you can help it. It's called a bad marrow rend if you marrow rend when you have like nine bone shield stacks and then you marrow rend. It's a bad one because you just wasted stacks. Those are 2 runes you could have used on Heart Strikes. Those are 2 runes you could have used on something else. So I just committed 4 to that. I'm gonna have to do it again. I'm probably gonna have to blood tap and do it because my dancing rune wasn't up. So I did have to commit a lot to stacks there.
I know. Hopefully we won't need it. We're so good.
So here I'm going to use Abomination's Limb.
We're trying to just pop anything else.
It's going to be overkill on bone shield stacks, but I wanted it for the utility of gripping all that together. The boss is almost at 50% life, and we still have 4 minutes left. Like, we don't even have a lust up yet. So even with 12 deaths, we're still, like, crushing this key. And other dungeons will be harder than this for a Blood Decay, but the hardest encounter is going to be that first boss. Getting out of this, watching out for charges. Reaping Scythe, we can AMS to negate half the damage because it is magical and physical. And Warrior's about to be in execute range. I think I get this one. I think I Gorfians this one. No, I don't. Wow, weird. Don't know what I was thinking there. Ooh, that's scary.
Good job, everyone.
Reaping Scythe. Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to attempt the 23 Spires of Ascension off of this key. You guys will know if it worked because I'll have a video out on it.
Nice.
So
Clean.
thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, if you liked it, if you liked the video, if you liked the content, please, I know everybody says this, but it does help if you like the video and put a comment in. I read all YouTube comments, so it would help. If only if you liked it. If this is all information you knew and you're not really into it, no problem. No obligation. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Hopefully, it's a 23 Spires. Hopefully. All right. Thanks.